2014 Nissan Titan front wheel bearing replacement. Got the wheel off, 6 lug nuts, 21 millimeter. All bolts and nuts are left to loosen, right to tighten. Break them loose a little bit, a turn or two. Go ahead and jack it up. A nice solid frame down here to jack up on, jack up, use safety stands, protect yourself, and lift it up the rest of the way, take the wheel off. And we'll be taking this caliper bracket off, maybe 18 millimeter, 19 millimeter bolt here, and then one on the bottom. And we'll get the caliper off a little bit. Maybe get a screwdriver in here and pry a little bit, collapse the piston just a little bit to make it easier to get the rotor off, or the caliper off. And we'll slide the rotor off. If it's stuck on here, this is a Canadian vehicle, it might be stuck on there. We'll tap with a hammer, spray some lubricant, and hopefully free it up and tap with a hammer and get it off. That's the plan. This is 1 1/4. I'm sure it's metric, but this one fits nice. 1 1/4 inch socket. You can stick a screwdriver in the vanes as well, and it'll stick against the whichever way you're turning, of course. Stick against the caliper on the top here, or on the bottom. Hold it still while you break that loose if you want. I'll be using the air tools.
Hey, I'm Todd. Thanks for watching my video, and do all that good YouTube stuff. Share it, like it, hit the notification bell, thumbs up, subscribe, all the things that you do. Thanks for taking the time to watch my video and saving some money perhaps. I also invite you to check out the links in the description for some long-term savings with the stock market, and checking out the links for either E-Trade or M1, where you can save and trade fractional stocks, or Webull, which is usually giving away a couple free stocks for just depositing $100. So I strongly invite you to invest in your future and check them out. Thanks, and let's get to the video.
$18 millimeters what I had for bolts. Just a little pull makes it easier to slide off in case there's a little lip on the rotor. Rotor's tilting off, you can see. I'm assuming my hub assembly will come with a speed sensor so we can pull it out of its spots. Disconnect it right here at the connector. I push in the top section here. It'll release. That's the plan. Probably need 2 hands. You push it on the very top though to release it. Pushing down. And we got probably 3 bolts, 17 millimeter I think back here, and we'll zip those out. All right, looks like an 18 millimeter bolt. So we got 1 bolt, 2 bolts, 1 more over here, 3 bolts. So we'll be turning the wheel back and forth to give us the easier access to the bolts, but this deep socket's going to work. Excuse me. We'll just hook in here and left to loosen, right to tighten. So that's the plan. Right, I'm not going to bore you with zipping these bolts out. Got them all loose with 18mm socket and ratchet wrench. 3 bolts are out, and we're going to tap on the side here and hopefully get it to come off. Depending on what kind of rusty conditions you are experiencing, you may want to spray penetrant on the back side here, on the other side. You might end up needing a slide hammer, hooks on here, slide it off that way, so we'll see how it goes. Oh, I think we'll be using some spray. Not really setting itself free, so we're going to spray some penetrant on it, maybe even let it sit overnight. It's getting towards the end of the day, but be aware, it might not just slide out. Yep, so we just spray some penetrant around here on the back side of the shield as well. Got a slide hammer hooked up. We'll give it a little try before we leave it for the night. Nope, we are in for a treat. So theoretically it'll slide out of place and put the new one in. It is not stuck to the axle because I was able to push that through. So real time, we're just going to have to sit overnight with some penetrant. Alright, so we've got the tie rod disconnected 22mm nut. Got that off. Calipers out of the way, everything's suspended up so we have access to our bolts in the back. Then we have an air hammer with a socket adapter. Not coming off, I won't worry about it, but this allows you to put any socket on it. So we got our 18mm socket on there, and we are just back here driving on each bolt, trying to work it out, and we got some success. We got some free play, so pretty happy about that. So it's going to be coming out. So we'll just work on this one, go around. We're just going to work around. I'm not going to show you all that. Who knows how long it's going to take, but just letting you know that is what it's taking. Let's just do a little bit here. Here we go. Whew, loud. That's it, and it's going to come out, and we'll clean everything up, of course, use some anti-seize probably on it, and slap it back together. I'll give you some torque specs after this too then. Yes. Yes. Woo. We'll clean this all up with a wire brush, whiz wheel, put a little anti-seize in here, and slide the new one on after you put your backing plate back on. So then we'll torque things down. 107 foot-pounds are the bolts, 3 bolts in the back, and it did tighten them evenly. This didn't slide all the way in on its own, so push it in a good amount, and then tighten it down a little bit at a time, going around. Drew it in nicely. So 107 foot-pounds for the wheel bearing assembly. 55 foot-pounds for the caliper mounting bracket. 2 bolts back there, 155. And this nut is 101 foot-pounds. Stick a screwdriver in here, either side, as I maybe mentioned, for tightening or loosening. Just on one side of the caliper or the other, as needed. You can probably bend or straighten out your cotter key and put that back in the hole. That's about it. And I'll give you a lug nut torque spec, and then tighten in the crisscross pattern. Do it as tight as you can while the vehicle's up on the ground. Then lower it so the wheels are touching the ground and then torque them to spec and let the vehicle down the rest of the way. That torque spec says 98 foot-pounds. That is replacing your wheel bearing hub assembly on your 2014, perhaps other model years and makes. Nissan Titan 4-wheel drive right there. Assuming 2-wheel drive, if they make that, is easier.